Restaurant manager fires cleaner for feeding homeless boy, doesn't see the man behind her. Take your things and leave. I don't want your kind on my premises anymore. You're fired. Those were the words that were spewed at Michelle Holmes. But I was just helping him. I need this job. Please give me another chance, Michelle protested, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. It was over. She had just lost her job. Michelle walked out of the restaurant she'd been working for only 6 months. What was she going to do now? She was out of work, and she knew the rent for her apartment was due in a week. But there was something else that was bothering her. What would become of the boy that she had been helping all this time? She felt bad just thinking about him. Michelle had been working at the family restaurant for 6 months. She was so grateful for the job, even though it was as a cleaner. She had been looking for so long. She was going to grab the opportunity no matter what. She didn't mind cleaning up after people as long as she could keep a roof over her own head. She worked hard cleaning in the kitchen and making sure everything was spick and span. One morning, as she was taking out the trash at the back of the restaurant, she came across a very heartbreaking scene. Someone was digging deep into the trash can, presumably looking for food. But what hurt her even more was that it was a young boy. But as soon as he saw Michelle approaching the trash cans, he hightailed it out of there. Wait, come back, Michelle yelled after him, but it was too late. The boy had run so fast that he was gone by the time Michelle checked for him around the corner. She felt so sorry for the boy. He must have been so hungry to be rummaging through trash cans. That night, as she left to go home, she couldn't stop thinking about the boy she had seen earlier in the day. Her heart bled for him, and she hoped that he managed to get something to eat for the day. But it was then that she came up with an idea. Maybe there was some way she could help the boy without scaring him off. The next morning, as soon as she got to work, she set her plan into motion. She opened the fridge and spotted some leftovers from the day before. No one was eating it, so she thought it was a good idea to save it for the boy if he came back to look for food in the trash cans. That way, there would be no food wastage. She was actually doing the restaurant a huge favor, or so she thought. As the day wore on, she kept peeping outside, trying to catch a glimpse of the boy, but he didn't show up. She really hoped that he would. She could only imagine how grateful he would be for a nice meal. Then, just as the restaurant started to get busy with the lunchtime rush, Michelle heard something outside. She discreetly managed to peer out, and there he was. The boy was back, and like before, he was furiously rummaging through the trash cans again. Michelle quickly grabbed the bag she was keeping for him and quietly stepped outside. But as soon as he saw her, he made a run for it again. Hey, kid, wait. I have some food for you, she called after him. Michelle had hoped that she could give him the food, but like before, he chose to run away. But as Michelle turned to go back inside, she heard something. Hello, miss. You said you have something for me? It was the boy. He had come back. Michelle was so relieved. She carefully walked towards him. She didn't like what she saw. The boy was a mess. He was wearing tattered and torn clothes. The soles of his shoes were barely there. She felt a pang of sadness in her stomach. Yes, here, this is for you. It's some food from the restaurant, and I added a bottle of water and a soda, she replied. The boy took the bag from her hands and began eating the food immediately. Michelle watched as the boy devoured the contents. She packed a full meal, which consisted of a few pieces of chicken, vegetables, and a few dinner rolls. The boy ravenously ate everything and then gulped down the soda and the water. Whoa, slow down, kid, Michelle remarked. But what the boy said broke her heart even further. Sorry, miss. I haven't eaten in days, And this is my first decent meal in months, the boy said. He looked down, trying not to look embarrassed. Michelle took pity on him. She wanted to help him. It's okay. No need to feel embarrassed. I don't mind helping you. My name is Michelle. What's yours? She held out her hand to him, but the boy looked at his dirty hands, too ashamed to shake Michelle's. Hey, it's all right. My hands get dirty all the time, she said, trying to reassure him. He mustered a small smile. I'm Jason. That's all he was willing to say before he looked down again. Michelle had a feeling that Jason had endured many hardships in his life. Nice to meet you, Jason. Where are your parents? Are you alone? She asked, but Jason only sighed. She could see that he felt ashamed about the way he looked. I don't have any parents. I'm an orphan, and I live on the streets. I sleep in this alleyway most nights if no one steals my spot, he finally replied. Michelle's heart broke for the boy. She knew that she needed to help him in every way that she could. Look, if you come around here every day around this time, I can have a meal for you. The boy's face lightened up. He couldn't believe how kind Michelle was. Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. And so, every day around lunchtime, Michelle grabbed any leftovers from the restaurant's kitchen and gave them to Jason. They even sat together and talked about his hardships. Michelle learned that Jason was only 9 years old. His parents passed away, and he was put in many foster homes. But Jason felt that it would be better if he were on his own, until he realized his mistake. Cold nights on the streets were torture, and he hated that he had to constantly look for food. He didn't even have any clothes. All he had were the clothes on his back. Michelle felt his pain. She vowed to help him with clothes, blankets, and food. But little did she know that she was being watched. Someone was not happy that she was taking food from the restaurant. After having several lunches together, Michelle had grown quite fond of Jason. To her, he felt like a little brother or even a son. But one day, everything would come crashing down on her. The manager of the restaurant, a stern man named Mr. Hanneman, had been watching her every move. It would be the last time she took leftovers from the restaurant fridges again. As soon as the clock struck 1 p.m., Michelle took the lunch bag she had been keeping and made her way out the back door. She knew Jason would be waiting for her. Not so fast, Missy. Where do you think you're going with those leftovers? Michelle stopped dead in her tracks. When she turned around, the manager, Mr. Hanneman, was glaring at her. He walked over to her and grabbed the bag out of her hands. He opened it up and inspected the contents. So you've been stealing food all this time right under my nose? How dare you? He snarled. Michelle became panic-stricken. She was sweaty as she stared at the angry man. Did you know it was against restaurant policy to take food unless otherwise stated to do so? He asked her. No, Mr. Hanneman. I didn't know that. But these are leftovers. It would have been disposed of in any case. I'm helping a homeless boy who comes around here. I couldn't let him scratch in the trash for food. It's inhumane, she replied. But Mr. Hanneman was not having. Oh, so you're luring homeless people to my restaurant as well. You're no good. I should have known you'd be nothing but trouble. Take your things and leave. I don't want your kind on my premises anymore. You're fired. Michelle couldn't believe what had just happened. She had just been fired for taking leftover food to give to a homeless boy. She couldn't understand how someone could be so cruel. But she wasn't going to take it lying down. She was going to make Mr. Hanneman regret his actions, and she was going to help Jason, even if she had to adopt him herself. There was no stopping her. Tears welled up in Michelle's eyes as she walked away from the restaurant, carrying the heavy burden of injustice and the weight of her vow to make things right. She had lost her job, but her determination to help Jason remained unwavering. She knew she had to find a way to support him and prove Mr. Hanneman wrong. Michelle spent the next few days scouring the city for job opportunities. She knew that without a stable income, she wouldn't be able to provide for Jason. Despite facing rejection after rejection, she refused to give up. Her determination caught the attention of a local community center, and they offered her a job as a counselor. With her new job, Michelle not only had a steady income, but also a platform to help Jason and others in need. She began to connect with social workers, volunteers, and local charities, all with the goal of improving the lives of homeless youths. Jason, who had been living on the streets for years, was her top priority. One evening, as Michelle was leaving the community center, she spotted Jason huddled in a corner, shivering from the cold. Her heart ached at the sight of him. She approached him and wrapped a warm blanket around his shoulders. "Jason, I'm here to help you. Come and stay with me. You'll have a safe place to sleep, get an education, and I'll make sure you never go hungry again," Michelle said with determination. Jason jumped into her arms. He was more than happy to go with her. As news of Michelle's success and her dedication to helping others continued to make headlines, it eventually reached Mr. Hanneman. He couldn't escape the guilt that gnawed at him for his rash decision. He realized that he had misunderstood Michelle's intentions and the impact she had on the community. He knew that it would be in his best interests to reach out to her. One day, Mr. Hanneman visited the community center, nervously approaching Michelle. "I made a terrible mistake," he admitted, his voice trembling. "I misunderstood your actions, and I let my anger get the best of me. I'm truly sorry for firing you." Michelle, filled with grace and forgiveness, accepted his apology. She knew that his change of heart was a testament to the positive change they had initiated in the community. Together, Michelle and Mr. Hanneman forged a partnership. The restaurant began donating surplus food to Michelle's foundation, ensuring that no one in the community went hungry. Jason, under Michelle's guidance, thrived academically, and eventually she adopted him. Michelle's unwavering determination to help a homeless boy not only changed her life, but also transformed her community. She turned a painful setback into an opportunity to make a positive impact on the lives of those in need, teaching everyone the true power of compassion and second chances.